Ladies and gentlemen, I'm yours truly, the legend himself, Labzy, aka the best motherfucker you ever met in the history of your life, and I can prove it to you even though I shouldn't. The most loyal, the most honest, and the most respected. And we're back in November. We're almost at the end, and a lot has happened. If you have not seen my Egypt trip journey, please go check that out on my personal page, as well as the recent podcast with Donkey Man is now out as well. Please go check that out. And also as a reminder, if you want to be a guest for 2026, please go DM me, send me a message. If you got my number, please hit me up and to be on the waiting list. Because I've had people saying, "Oh man, can I be on the show? Can I be on the show?" Blah blah blah. But I've already got the guests lined up for the rest of the year. Unless I have a cancellation, then obviously we can look at it. But yeah, so please send me if you want to be on the show during 2026. I got my book down. I got my book to write down all the guests, stuff like that. And so it's all good. Now, my next guest. First guest of November is a dancer. She's also a dance teacher and loves to keep the culture of dance alive. If you look at the some of the posts that she does, especially, you could really see the passion of what she does. And what I always love about her videos is that you could just really see the energy, the determination, just the passion, really, just the heart, and especially in the dancing world. And I would argue that not many people dance anymore. Like they do, but they don't. If that makes sense. I'll bring my guest in right now. Hang on, did it actually work? There we go. Yeah, that's better. Because I feel like not many people dance anymore. So that's why I wanted her having her on the show would be refreshing as well. Because again, as I was saying, there was just so much energy, so much passion, so much determination, especially with what she does, is just refreshing, to be honest. And that's why I want to have her on the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nadiah, hi.
Hey, I don't know if we're live right now or
Oh,
if
we're
the
live.
internet is delay. Okay, we're live.
We're live. First of all,
Hello,
Nadiah.
hello.
How are you? How is your mental health?
Oh, we're starting off with the heavy ones.
Uh-huh.
You know what's really crazy? I
Yes.
actually thought to myself on the way here, meaning on the way home, I was thinking, why do I have a gut instinct that Labzy's about to pop the heavy questions straight away? Yo, that's so crazy. Okay, so how am I? My answer to you is that I'm being. That's today. That's
Okay.
that's my that's my vibe today, is that I'm being, I'm feeling what I have to feel. I'm not putting any labels on it and letting it be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. I like that. And to be honest with you, that's how it should be. I mean, I feel like we should
yeah,
always just let things be what they should be, and then just
yeah,
basically just go with that, you know? And I feel like a lot of people try to control a lot of things when they know they shouldn't, because the more they try to control things, especially that's outside of their control, they make things worse for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So,
word.
yeah. But yeah, it is. First of all, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to be speaking to me. Now, I wanted to understand your journey in the dance, especially, just your passion of what you do. You got to take it back for me. So, where did this passion come from?
Okay. Let me start with actually saying thank you so
Yes.
much for having me as well on
Of
your
course.
show. We've been trying to coordinate this for a while. And it's been a while that I've been on an Instagram live. I used to do this a lot years ago when I was touring and living overseas. And yeah, I just feel like in this moment, I'm just sitting in it and I'm just like super grateful that you feel the way you do about my craft and about what I've been putting out over the years, and that you would like to talk to me about that so that I could share like where my art comes from. So thank you so much, first and foremost.
Anytime.
Um, okay, so where does the passion come from? Um, from a very it came from very early on. I think that before I could define it as a passion, it was more of a survival tool. That was it. Um, it was really the thing that helped me escape my reality. I'm being real here because, like, obviously, not obviously, everyone has a different journey in their life, and
Yes.
so it's not obvious, but for me, it's obvious. That the way that I coped with a lot of the struggles and I was dealing with, I was as a kid, the best way to deal with it, that I found my little happy place, my little bubble of euphoria, uh, yeah, just a place of like safety, was through music and through movement. And so that's where it started. And over time, anytime something bothered me or I was, dealing with stuff, family or everyday life stuff growing up, it was just kind of like, all right, cool. Like, and maybe I'm a little, I'm trivializing the things that I went through as a kid because it was real shit. But yeah, definitely always used dance as the medium to process those things and to express, put it into something um, that didn't require words because sometimes the pain was just so much that it was just like, all right, cool, like this can't be put into words. So let's just sort of like move it into another thing, transmute it in some way. And yeah, and that's how it kind of became a practice for me. And then over the years, it was literally the thing that just was always there. It was always there no matter what, It
Mm.
didn't require any particular location, any particular look, any particular clothes, and it was just me and my soul and the music. And no matter where I was, I could just do it freely. And and yeah, to this day, that's what it is for me.
Yeah, I like that because I was even looking at the benefits of dancing, especially for like for mental health, right? And mentally, dancing benefits including reducing stress and anxiety, releasing endorphins, and regulating cortisol, improving mood, and increasing self-esteem and confidence. So yeah, that basically covers that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that because obviously fitness is involved. Because I always like to promote gym as well because I know you're very heavy on the gym. You even do another starting something else with the fitness as well. We'll get to that in a second, but like anything involving physical activity in order to shift the mindset from negative to positive, like obviously acknowledging the negativity and like try to figure out what's going on in order to you know but we always try to learn from it and use the correct tools to benefit, like basically put it where it will make us better people instead of harming others or even harming ourselves, right? So that's
100%.
yeah. So and that's fantastic because obviously a lot of people have different ways. Some people have music, some people have painting, some people have dancing. In your case, so which also raises a question: what makes a good dancer?
Mm. It depends on what you value.
Okay.
I value authenticity. I value heart. And there have been plenty of movers that I've had the blessing to guide,
Hmm.
meet, exchange with. and they might not have had the physical tools, but yo,
Mm,
their spirit though,
mm,
mm-mm-mm.
mm,
That it's like, no, like I've had people in class, right? Like they can
mhm.
kill it with the lines and they're clean and everything, but it's dead, right? And then
Yeah,
you see someone that is raw. They can't really follow the choreography or they can't really hit it that way. But the little glimpses that they somehow catch that little moment and they bring that little moment or that little sequence to life, for me, it's game over. I'm like,
mm,
okay, if you stay in that, if
mhm,
you continue your training and learn the language of movement and
mm,
then connect it with your heart and your spirit and like your story, it's a wrap for
mm.
me. It's a wrap. Like it's like you will have me glued to you for as long as you're moving because you're telling me something that is real. It's
Yeah,
something that I'm invested in, right? It's not like you're just telling me something that's empty. So for me, that is what makes a good dancer. That is from like an emotional perspective, and that's because that's how I am, right? But dance has evolved so much. Or if it's not that it's evolved, I feel that like with the access of social media and like being able to fast track learning information as well as various ways of like getting the knowledge that you need around training as well as of course like the knowledge like I said just now, right, is that I feel the standard of dance has been pushed so much higher when it comes to technicality and like uh I dare even say creativity, and in that sense, right? But I think what's being lost, I dare say,
mm,
my hot take is that with social media and everything and short form videos and now we being content creators, the soul and the heart is being lost a lot of the time.
yeah,
So people are falling into the trap of like, all right, how can I impress, how can I get more followers and everything. All right, I need to make sure that I do this big trick, I need to make sure that it reads through the screen and all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm not even gonna lie, there are times when I'm kind of like, oh, I'm gonna make sure that I level up in this way and level up in that way in my dance so that like I can grab that kind of attention as well, right?
mm,
But every time I go and do that, I always go like, nah, but like what feels really good to me is just is moving and expressing authentically. And it's not always the big wow moves that really touch for me.
mm,
Okay. It's
mm.
obviously a personal opinion, a personal experience, right? And often also there are times when, okay, I'll tell you one story.
Go ahead.
I was performing at Red Bull last year, and it was a very personal piece. I haven't posted it on the grams yet. I don't know when I'll ever, if I'll ever, but it's a very personal piece, right? And there was like lots of people watching it, Red Bull dancer style, massive platform, all this stuff, right? I was invited to do a solo. I did it, performed it. This woman came to me and she was like, I see you.
Mm,
Thank you for your art. Like, thank you for saying what you said. And obviously when she said saying, she said it in the movement. Thank you because I resonate. Keep doing what you're doing. All of these things, right? And I was moved to tears. I thought to myself, like, oh my God, like that's all. If I needed something, right? If I needed validation, which I didn't, because for me, I was just like, I'm doing what I'm doing. And if it reaches, it reaches, and it lands, right? But the fact that she went out of her way to move through the audience at the end of it all to come and find me and say what she said, I was just like, the message is done. I'm done.
yeah.
Like, this is, I didn't need anyone to applause for the movement or whatever, because it wasn't wow and all this in a sense, in that sense, but in an spiritual and emotional way. It was like it landed for one person at least. And that one person was called to come forward to share that with me. And so yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I could babble on a lot about this.
Nah, hey,
About the
if
joys
if
of
you
my
want to
dance.
babble on, go right ahead. This is your stage right now. This is your stage right now. But I want to say no, but I do agree with you. Like in the world of social media, the people have put a lot of pressure on themselves to believe that they got to keep up with the content and everything like that to attract more and stuff like that. And I feel like as people do that, it is removing the authenticity because just as you said, like when you're being more authentic, you're getting the attraction anyway because it's something different, it's something new, and it's you basically. And you're
That's it.
introducing that to the world. And by you,
And
yes,
sorry, can I interrupt? And I
go ahead.
think through maintaining that authenticity, you're always attracting the energy that is resonating with your art rather than attracting the noise. And I
Mm,
think that's what always stays with me whenever I have opportunities, like for example, there was every roadblock in the way for me to, by the way, I'm not like talking about these examples to kind of like name drop. It just so happens that these are actually coming to my mind right now. And it was really, truly massive moments for me, not only from a sort of a alignment perspective, but also from a perspective of like, oh, these people or these platforms also happen to be massive ones, right? And coffee, oh my god, this artist, when she first came out, I was like, oh, I feel you so much, my sister. Like, woo! Like I just felt her music, I felt her soul, I felt her message, the energy in the music, right? And I remember when she came out, I was living in Europe at the time, and I was thinking, oh my god, it'd be so great to go see her. So I went to go see her in Germany, in Berlin. Then I went to go see her in Germany, in Cologne, and then I went to see her in other places. I was like basically following a tour in Europe. And I remember keep saying to myself, oh, I'd love to like dance for her one day. I know her music is more reggae, and it's not, it's like a fusion of sounds, reggae, dance hall. Like it's not 100% dance hall. It's not so fast paced, but I'm like, let me express this movement, right? And
mm,
anyway, fast forward all these years later, this festival here in Australia, in the Gold Coast Promised Land, they were bringing her out, and I didn't, even though I was really excited to see her. If I could see her, I wasn't really like at that time even thinking about possibly dancing for her. I was just kind of like, okay, it would be great for us as dancers on the African and Caribbean platform to be able to actually represent authentically on the stage there, because this particular festival was hosting artists and basically focusing on music from the African and Caribbean diaspora, right? And so I was like, this would be really great, blah, blah. All the roadblocks in the world you could possibly think of. And I just thought, okay, cool, no worries. It's not meant to be. These people have their own agenda, whatever, whatever. And then all of a sudden, a message came through around about from LA about dancing for coffee. And I was like, what?
mm.
Like this like, and in that moment I was like, yo, I was laughing, and I was like also really emotional, because I was like, this is so meant to be. Like the synchronicity is actually crazy. It's wild. And it's just like, yeah, wow, divine timing. You just got to believe in the divine timing. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. It's going to come no matter how many blocks are in the way. And that's what brings me back to what we're talking about, authenticity. And it's like, even though those moments are not coming every day all the time, I much rather have those really key moments of working with artists or on platforms or on with people that literally really understand the depths of where your art comes from. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm big on that.
Yeah, of course. No, I definitely agree, especially when you do have a passion for whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's dance, music, rap, whatever, the universe will respond. The universe will respond in a way that you will expect, but most of the time you won't expect. Because if you're expecting it, it's not going to come. When you don't expect it, you just got to, when you're doing your own thing, that's when all of a sudden you start getting blessings that you didn't even ask for, but then it's just
Facts.
there. It's just like, wow. And it all comes down to you just knowing to trust yourself, trust the process, keep going, not giving up. Now, which does raise the question, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Motivation is a flaky friend. I don't rely on motivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you,
Um,
okay, how, what would you say that, what keeps you going
yes.
yeah, what keeps you going? Yes.
Life.
Okay.
Yeah. Life. Wanting to constantly share stories, my journey. Um, and I feel like there are also moments where there's seasons, like I'd say, like since I came back to Australia 5 years ago, I definitely have slowed down a lot with the social media game, like as in wanting to constantly pump out content, and everything. And that's possibly because also what I was saying just now, right? It's like I feel like I felt the shift of like people really creating, and this is a generalized comment, not everyone's like that, but like, people generally feeling forced to, and it's not that like you're not consciously thinking to yourself like, oh, I need to play this game and I'm forced to make this content. It's not that people are consciously thinking that, but I think that you just fall into the trap of it because it's like these days when you're an artist, and you're on social media, you do rely heavily on using that as your platform to get your work out there, right? And so subconsciously, you kind of do tend to kind of float with the trend. And if you're not intentional, you're not aware of that, you get swept up in it, right? And I feel that the combination of COVID, the world shutting down, all this kind of stuff, I naturally kind of started to be a bit like, whoa, overstimulation. I'm not trying to force my art right now. I'm just going to be and flow with what feels right for me right now. And of course the transition, the personal life and blah blah. I can go into details of that, but we'll be here for 10,000 million days. So let's not go let's
I
go into
got I
that.
got time. I got time.
Yeah, no. But yes, so what keeps me motivated is definitely going to be the 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 desire to want to share the message, knowing that all of our stories, whether or not you're someone that's trying to be public with it or you're more someone introverted and you share it with your friends and your family, I think that like some of us, if we're artists, we use our art to share these stories, and we like to be able to share it on a public platform because of the fact that just knowing that like all of our stories, like I said, whether you don't share it, whether you do share it, our stories are important, and it's a thing that is basically the thing that keeps us connected as a community and what keeps us grounded and human. It's
Mm.
reminding us of our humanity. I think that's what art is for me. um, and just inspiring. And when I say inspiring, I don't mean in a way of like, let me be an inspiration. No, I don't mean that. I mean as in, as in, you'd be surprised. Like I know I am always surprised, no matter how long I've been doing it, that like if I put something out and how someone might in the comment section or send a DM or something and just be like, oh my God, like what you shared, like I just feel so seen. Or there's been times where I've seen people's work and I'm like, oh, I feel so seen. Like I feel like I resonate with the message right now. It's landing so perfectly right now with where I'm at, the space that I'm at in my life. And I think that's what, like I said, it keeps us present. And I think actually, speaking of presence,
Mm-hmm.
that is what keeps me doing my art, is actually being present, because I think that the matrix that we live in, this Babylon,
Mm-hmm.
is just constantly tearing us. Ah! Sorry, I had to let that out for a
That's
second.
all right.
It's like we are being reminded that we have to survive. Like, as in, what I mean by that is like the structures are making us stressed. The structures are made not for an equal sort of like, okay, we're all humans and let's be and let's do what we are put on this planet to do or to be, because we're human beings, not human doings, right? It's like, oh my God, like we doing art is the way for us to, I feel like more so now it is. Before it used to be, and even now I'd say that it's like it's really an act of rebellion, because in order to stay an artist, in order to keep your art alive, whether you're doing it part-time, casually, as a hobbyist, full-time, whatever it is, to stay present with your art and to keep doing it while the structures leave literally nothing for you to actually do it sustainably,
Mm.
is the part that is like the realest shit.
Mm.
Like, because you're not really getting much from it anymore, right? Like, when I say getting much, I don't mean it from a soul fulfilling and all of that way. I mean as in monetarily, because we live in a capitalist world, and
Mm.
like, sharing your heart and your passion, everything is not going to pay your damn bills, but you
Yeah.
still do it. You still do it because it's what speaks to the people. It's what keeps us alive. It's a fucking life source.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm getting mad
That's
passionate.
no, that's all right. No, hey, talk your shit. Talk your shit. Talk your shit. Talk
Yeah.
your shit. But I definitely no, but I definitely agree because I've even been saying for the longest of time that we are designed for more than just the whole 9 to 5 bullshit. Like we all have a gift. I have a gift, you have a gift, the viewers have a gift, and it is our job to let that out onto the world and not let basically the world stop us from that, right? That's it should not be. It's just a hurdle. It's not a. It's like it's just an obstacle that we could just go through. It's what it is, right? And but just as you said, look, the Matrix world that we live in just makes it sound like, oh yeah, we're basically robots and we just do what we're told, and our paying taxes is basically paying our subscription to live here. That's basically what it is, and it's like, no, we're designed for more than that. And that's why art is the most important thing in this world, because I feel like that's the thing that keeps our souls alive. This is the thing that God gave us for free, by the way, and to really just fill that cup of just authenticity, motivation, as wisdom, everything that, and it's spread out into different types of art form. So that's why we are better than this whole 9 to 5. Yeah, well, we can get a job just to pay the bills, whatever. I hate paying taxes. Everyone hates paying taxes. I hate the government. Everyone hates the government. You know what I mean? But like,
And now this live is cancelled.
yeah, what right, there you go. Good night, everybody. Oh
Yo.
man. But yeah, so but that's why I tell people all the time, like you really have to pursue whatever it is that your heart is aching for you to do, or your soul is aching what is to do. But now, but when it comes to support, talk to me about support of this journey that you're doing with dancing and everything like that. Do you feel that you've been getting the support at the very beginning? And if not, how do you still do it? How do you break through it? Because those are
Yo.
factors as well.
Yo, I am laughing because, like, yeah. Hmm. Let me sit with that word, support.
Yeah, because there are some creatives that do have that support system, whether it's their family, friends, and they're like, yeah, do whatever you want, da da da. But then you have the ones that don't. So, well, this will be your turn for that one.
Okay.
Okay.
So start with my family first and foremost. I
Mhm.
am really blessed that my mom and my dad always supported me in what I loved to do. Um, my dad wasn't a very present dad, and we won't really dig into that one because
Mhm.
in every other way he wasn't the greatest dad at all. But in that way, he was amazing because he was a fine artist, and so um, he uh, he really was like Team Nadia when it came to anything art. You know, growing up. In fact, when I wanted to study marine biology and ecology at university, I remember him being really confused. He was like, wait, but I don't see you being in a lab coat looking under a microscope. Like, I see you dancing and all of these kinds of stuff, right? And so,
Mhm.
in that sense, he was really, really supportive of me and really encouraging and pushing that side of of myself as I was growing up and growing and finding out what I wanted to do and stuff like that. My
Mhm.
mom, on the other hand, she was always supportive, but she was also quite logical. And that comes down to, I suppose, her own life experience of knowing what it's like to be a woman of color in the world, a woman on top of that, growing up in apartheid system in South Africa, not getting an education, not having access to that, and being like, okay, I want to give my children another opportunity. Another reality, an opportunity that I didn't have. And so she was very passionate, very um in two ways. She was like, yes, go and do your art, but then also the world is not made really for people like you. And so it's important that you also get a piece of paper so that unfortunately you play the game. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was studying my marine biology, studying my degree at uni, marine biology and ecology. And I remember I was about to give it up because I was like in tears to her, oh, I just want to dance. I just want to dance. I was like, what? I don't know, 21 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like halfway through the degree and everything. And she was like, look, I hear you. And I really want you to dance and you will, but just hear me out. Trust me. Finish your degree, get your papers, and then go and do what you want to do with your life. You know, I heeded her advice and followed through with it, finished the degree. And I remember I went and pursued my dance. That was in 2010. I just never looked back. Um, I would say in the beginning of my career, which is a very normal process as you're emerging, that if you're lucky to have a circle of friends from childhood that are tight, as well as family, I think they will be your support system to begin with. I don't, and maybe your peers that you also come up with. But at the same time, you know, let's be real, right? Like when you're in your early 20s, like just exiting your teen years, right? Self-confidence and being sure in yourself and your sense of self-worth is not fully developed. So when you're around other people that are going through that exact same life process, they're unable to be that supportive of you. You know, it's like you're constantly threatening the fragile ego that exists there. And so I think now I understand that even though in an ideal world, I would have liked to have from the get-go the support, you know, where everyone's like, I believe in you, Nadiah. Yes, you're going to make it. That wasn't my reality. And I think that a lot of artists that have done a lot in their careers would agree and say that that was their experience too. Like, or maybe they would be saying, oh, from my peers, I didn't get that, but from family and friends, I did. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. I moved to Brisbane when I was 17. I moved from Malaysia when I was 17. So I came to Brisbane or Minjin on like a blank slate, basically having to recreate friendship groups and everything. And I was jumping left, right, and center. So first I was at university, then I went to do a full-time course in dance. And so now it's a different group of friends and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, trying to maintain or having to cultivate a long-term friendship group wasn't a part of my journey. So scrap that out of the picture. And the only person that remained in my corner at that time in my life when I was pursuing dance was my mother. And so she was, until this day, my number one fan, supporter, cheerleader, anything you can think of, right? Along the way, they were key individuals that were peers that were also dropping little moments of like, yes, I see you, and yes, I believe in you, and all this kind of stuff. And as I started to earn my stripes, I started to also gain a little bit more respect in the community. And then, of course, as opportunities arose, then there was also support from the students and the people that I was sharing with and that resonated with my art and stuff like that. But most of all, honestly, the thing that kept me going was just this one thing that I was sure about. I didn't know how far I was going to go with it, what the direction looked like, where exactly I was going to end up. But what I was absolutely sure about was that every time the music was on and every time I danced, I was good. I was
Yeah.
happy. And that's all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
That's all that mattered to me. And I was just like, cool, that's what I'm going with. And that's how I'm going to keep moving forward. And yeah,
Okay.
that's,
No, I love
yeah.
it. Now, because you were saying that, you know, there was a time where you didn't know where it was going. What about now? What about nowadays? Where do you see the dancing going? Or is it, do you believe it's the same since the beginning?
There's a difference between knowing where it's going,
Hmm.
which I think is an illusion, right?
Yep.
So what I mean by that is like, do you really know?
Mm.
You'd like to think that you do, right? But come on, no one can predict the future, so you don't really know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely having faith in it. There's that. And my headphones have died. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, cool. All right. Let me put one headphone in the charger. Hold that thought. Yeah, so I think there's definitely there is so much power in having faith in where you're going, but having faith in not knowing what that looks like,
Mm.
right? So I can't say that I know where right now where my art is going, but I know that I'm still locked in with it. I know that it's still going to be there. What it's going to look like, I don't know. Right now, I'm accepting what it looks like for what it is right now and embracing it and loving it as it is. And I am open to what what is to come for me in the future as well. Having said that, though, I'm not also sitting back without any goal or dreams or intention. Like I am still very clear with where I'd like to take my dance in the next steps. But how I get there is the part that I don't know, but I'm ready and still moving with it. And hopefully it gets there. And if it doesn't, that means that particular goal probably wasn't meant for me at the time that I would like it, but maybe it will come later, but maybe it won't, but something else will come because I believe that life is written for us. And, we have, again, the illusion of control over knowing how things is going to end. But the only thing we know for sure how it's going to end is how we're going to end up, is that we're going to all end up back into the earth. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that is for sure. Everything else we don't know. And I think the more we can be open to accepting that and surrendering to that while having the dreams and the goals and working towards what that might look like is what matters, finding that sort of like meeting point, so to speak.
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
like that. Now, you have your own dance. Is it a dance school, isn't it? That you
Yes.
have. Yeah. So tell me about that. Tell me why you wanted to start that, and was the whole you wanted to basically bring other people into your journey as well? And what was the goal to have that class?
Yep. So the brand or the school is called Rhythm and Roots Movement. We're currently on a hiatus. We've been on a hiatus since last July. And I think that it will come back in another capacity at some point. And it's gone on a hiatus because, to start something that doesn't have an avenue yet in Queensland
Hmm.
is really challenging. To do it alone is another level of challenge. It really takes a village. It takes that statement applies to so many things, and it really does in this case as well. Like when I started it with two beautiful ladies that shared the same passion around Afro Caribbean dance and wanting to share this the dances authentically and correctly. Um, and over time, as we were building it, there was so much interest in wanting to support the message and the underlying goal behind it. And also, the reason why I wanted to do it was because I was like, okay, we're all brown, black women, women of color, right? And we're women. And there's this common stereotype that women of color cannot work together. Like we're gonna be catty, we're gonna be all this kind of stuff.
Mm.
I am a girl's girl. Like even though it's so funny, I grew up playing around with a lot of boys, meaning like I was a tomboy. I hate that terminology. Not I don't hate that terminology. I'm trying to stay PC in this situation, this world climate where you can't be using certain terms, okay? But anyway,
Yeah,
let me just use that term, okay?
I got you. I
So
got you.
yeah, but even though that was the case, I've always deep down been a girl's girl, or just generally loved the idea of collaboration and building with people. Sadly, it actually hasn't been a part of my journey, not because I didn't want it, but because it just hasn't happened that way. Like I feel like somehow the way my life has worked out in my dance world journey in general is that life has just said, hey, look, like it's currently, and in however many years now, your season, your journey is meant to be doing it alone for whatever it is, and I've accepted that. even though I've tried. Anyway, having said that, that was the goal. The goal was, okay, we're women, let's work together, let's show a different story now, a different narrative, break that narrative that like women of color, women, blah blah, we can't work together. Yes, we can work together, right? And let's build something for us. Let's change, like I said, let's change the narrative. I'm repeating myself here. Um, and for a while it worked really really well, but over time our priorities shifted, and the girls wanted to focus on their own things that they were super passionate about, and that was fine. So I needed to let that go, and I carried the project by myself for a while, until I couldn't carry it anymore, because there's only so much one person can do. You can be the creative, the manager, the media, the marketing person, the everything. Do you know what I mean? Like you can, but eventually you'll hit burnout, especially when you don't have also the financials to easily just go like, oh, let me, engage someone to do that role and engage someone to do this role, engage someone to, it's just not possible, And so I hit a time where I was just like, wow, like it hit winter where the numbers were significantly dropping, which is a standard experience for all studio owners, and people that run these things. And can you imagine a studio that literally focuses just on African and Caribbean movement, or like Black dancers, period? Like it's gonna struggle even more than a studio that offers other dance styles. So over time, like I was probably about a month-ish to 2 months where I was like, wow, I'm basically doing charity work here, and I'm not, like, this is going to start to impact it's obviously impacting my spirit, my mental, but it's eventually going to start impacting my physical if I can't eat. Like, come on, let's be real. You know what I mean? You can be as passionate as you want, right? Like I said earlier.
Mm.
So I had to make the tough decision to let it go into a hiatus, or go on a break, um, right now. And I guess I will restart in another capacity at another time. I keep feeling like this year I've been saying that, and it, it's like bubbling up in my gut, where
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
there's something there that's coming.
yeah.
It's just that I'm not trying to rush it. I'm trying to let it do its thing. And I think what it's meant to look like, and when it's going to happen, it's just going to click. And that's how it is for me. I noticed that, like, I feel things, and then it's like when it's go time, there is like every cell in my body is like, it's go time, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing's slowing me down, and I'm like, wow, let's go, let's do it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, that's rhythm and roots movement for you.
Okay. No, I love it. And yeah, just basically just let things happen naturally on its own.
Yeah.
Let it come when it arrives. Just as you said, like, because that blessing will come out of random, right? And but which also I wanted to ask as well, like, do you do like little mini classes, like one on one? Like, if everyone ever asks you, say, "Hi, Nadia, can you teach me how to dance?" I know you don't have the classes anymore, but can you teach me how to dance? Or is it like a one on one thing? Like, do people ask you that as well?
Yeah, I actually do teach one-on-one privates.
Okay.
Yeah, so I built like a little studio in my garage. And since I moved into this place that I've been living in for the last like almost 4 years now, and I moved in here for two reasons. For the garden that I haven't touched.
Okay.
It's staring at me, being like, hey, the fourth summer is here. Why haven't you done anything? But I become an indoor house mom. Anyway, that's a side
Yeah.
note. And the other reason was the garage. So the garage was staring at me for 6 months when I first moved in, and then I was like, yo, am I about to up and go again, or am I settling for a little longer? And then I was like, you know what? I don't know right now. So if I don't know, let me just build this studio. And then I built the studio and was just opened it up, like, yeah, I was gonna open it up, meaning like I made it known and said like, yeah, cool, sharing one-on-one private lessons for all levels. And yeah, and so just yesterday I had two students come through and stuff. So yeah, I do teach privates, one-on-ones, and I also do them online.
Okay. Is it still
Yeah.
the same genre, like Afro beats, or do you mix hip hop in there as well?
Hip hop is no longer my forte, but if beginners come through and they want to learn things like coordination, basic groups, party dances, and stuff like that, I'll share that with them as well, because that's definitely a stepping stone. But if, say, for example, an advanced hip hop dancer was like, yo, can you teach me the intricacies of like, I don't know, something, I would probably
Yeah.
be like, it's not my forte. I've got someone else that I can recommend. But usually it's in dancehall, Afro, house, Afro specifically, to be specific, is Amapiano, and yeah, and then house.
Okay. And you could say, would you say that you've been well traveled? Because you did say that you went from South Africa. You said you were at Malaysia as well, and you said parts of Europe too as well. Like, so how did you? So what was it about Australia that made you think, no, this is my home now?
Um, Yo, home is a very big word. Um, can I, like, well, I've been real the whole time, so but I don't know why I said, can I be real? But I'll say that anyway, because that's naturally that's gonna
Hence
come
my
out.
show,
Can
by
I
the
be real?
way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Real talk with Labzy.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know what? First time in my life this year on my birthday, or around my birthday back in June, was the first time that I actually felt full and at home. And what that was, it wasn't the place. It was the fact that I finally have a real circle of friends. And like when I say circle, it's more like three people. But like what I mean is in like these are real people that I know that I can be my like most joyful and vibrant self with, as well as my most chaotic and messiest self with, that show up for me no matter what, no matter what season. So that's that. Um, I also was shown a lot of love by a beautiful person that I was seeing at the time. And so I felt like that part of my heart was really like really seen and really fulfilled in that way. And then of
Mhm.
course my family. So I think that um in all areas of like human connection, that for me is what I define as home, is where I felt like really fulfilled and felt for the first time, okay, I'm home. So if I were to take those people that I celebrated my birthday with and place them in a whole other location, I would have still felt the same way. So it's not necessarily about where I am, it's definitely the people that I'm around.
Okay.
To go back to that comment about feeling at home, right? But going back to the question about the just a little bit about my journey, is that I was born in Melbourne, in Nam, and
Hey, whereabouts?
yeah, Box Hill,
Okay, so you're in the north. Okay,
yeah,
northeast. Yeah.
yeah. And then when I was 6 years old, the family decided that we're going to go back to Malaysia. So I went back to Malaysia when I was 6, grew up there till I was 17. And then at 17, came back to Australia and decided to move to Meanjin, Brisbane. Um, what brought me back to Australia, though, if I'm being real, is that the only memory that stuck with me that was sort of like rainbows and butterflies was the first 6 years of my childhood in Nam, in Melbourne. And that was that they were just really good memories with me. That's the thing that actually really kind of like stuck with me, because growing up in Malaysia was really hard. I faced a lot of discrimination, uh, a lot of bullying growing up, coming from a mixed, uh, having mixed parents, and then on top of that, what happened to my mom as well when I was 10 years old, being stabbed and stuff. Like, it
Oh
was just
wow.
like it was just a really challenging childhood. And so I remember when I was 15, I was like telling my parents, like, hey, can you just send me back to Australia? Because that was the thing that I was holding on. I was like, that's the memory that I have. That's the thing that I want to keep holding on to. Take me back to Australia. And
Hmm.
my dad was like, absolutely not. Boarding school. I know that what happens there. Like, no, you can't go. Da da da. So I studied really, really hard, and in high school, and I got a scholarship to come and study at the University of Queensland. And I was like, peace. Now you have no excuse. I've graduated high school. I'm 17 years old. Get me a ticket, buy me a one-way flight. I'm going to Australia and I'm going to study and make my life. So
The
that's what I'm doing.
the one-way flight. Just that was that part for me.
So that's what I did. And then I was here studying and living from 2005 to 2012.
Mhm.
And then had another moment of like, yo, I think my chapter here is done. I'm searching for the next step and thing for my, mainly at the time because I was dancing full time at that time, for my dance career. So I packed up my car. I sold everything in the apartment that I was living at and drove down to Melbourne and like found a place on Gumtree and was like, hey, I guess I'm moving into your place. And moved into this bedroom in St. Kilda and freaking resided in Melbourne for 4 years. And then while I was there, I was also feeling like started to kind of like branch out, like discover more things about like what's outside of Australia in terms of dance and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And found myself in a relationship with someone from France, from Paris. That didn't work out. But what happened in that time was that I was introduced to the European dance scene. He wasn't a dancer, but what introduced me to it was because like I went there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, side story. Found myself in Europe and was like, wow, this is what dance is out here. Went to
Mm.
New York, went to LA. I was on a dance pilgrimage. I said, okay, this is where it's at. And so that relationship didn't work out anymore. I said, okay, cool. I don't know how I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it. And from 2000, and so I went on a dance pilgrimage for the whole of 2015. And
Mhm.
then it was in 2016, I came back to Australia for this person. That didn't happen. And and anyway, I was like, all right, cool. Let's pivot and
Mhm.
let's figure out now what's happening next. And so I spent the remaining 10 months being like, all right, don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Worked, saved. And then again, round two, sold all my stuff, packed everything into 2 suitcases, bought a one-way ticket to France. And I was like, peace out, Australia. I don't know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. I know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to dance, but I know how I'm going to do it. But here we are going there. And so I lived out my life and my dream as a dancer in Europe. What an incredible time it was. And I know that if COVID didn't happen, I still would be there for sure.
Yeah.
But like life, everything happens for a reason. And so after those 4 years, COVID happened. And then I was like, all right, cool. Let me take a break and come back to Australia. And I'm still here now.
Yeah. Well, would you consider still making that move again in the future sometime if the opportunity came to you?
Key phrase, if the opportunity came to me, but it needs to be an opportunity that aligns with where I am in my dance career right now.
That one.
So yes, so there's two companies that I am so interested in working with, or at least training with. I already managed to I had an opportunity to do an intensive day workshop with the company, Akram Khan. They're based in London. I love Akram Khan's work. I think it resonates with me. Not only, not so, I can't say so much from a dance vocabulary or like a movement perspective, because his movement is fused contemporary with Kathak, a traditional style of dance from India. However, I did practice a little bit of Bharatanatyam when I was growing up, and I did practice traditional Malay, folk, and Balinese dance as well growing up. So, and of course, traditional African as well. So, I am familiar with I guess traditional movement, right? But of course, Kathak is a different vocabulary again. However, but what it is that like it's his messages and the stories that he tells in all of his pieces. It's like, wow, like I want to be a part of that storytelling, because he creates pieces that are thought provoking, that inspire the audience to think deeply, whether it's self reflection, whether it's um thinking about the grander purpose, like as in like what your role is on this earth, you know, like it's really big, deep messages that I really want to be able to communicate through art as well, you know. So that's why I really would love to work with Akram Khan. And then there's another dance, they're based in London. There's another dance company based in New York. A friend of mine actually dances for them. And just watching him flow on the floor, fusing house dance again with contemporary now, oh, it just looks so beautiful. And even though floor work and flowing on the floor isn't entirely my forte either, I do feel a calling for it as well. And the name of the dance company is Kizuna, if I'm not mistaken, um, a dance company. And yeah, like it's a very beautiful, very they do very beautiful movement. And those at the moment, those are two companies that I'd like to either train with and or dance with. But yeah, I'm very specific with like what I'd like in my next phase, because of the fact that I am a part of a crew, or what we say, a crew company, Paradoxal, based in Paris, in France. And well, I say were in a past tense because I'm no longer touring with them, but they're still touring. The dance pieces that we've created, namely Queen Blood. And that's just gone all around the world, really touring that. And, you know, I'd love to be able to go back and dance with my crew Paradoxal as well, and continue building on and our work there as well. So, yeah, it's basically the angle is definitely um, company work, bigger on bigger platforms in theaters, that I'd like to do now. So if that opportunity presents itself somehow, I would be very keen to go for it. Yeah.
No, I love that. And tell me about NFZ Fitness. It does look like it's a recent thing. And I have seen the videos, and you honestly kill it at the gym yourself. Like I love how pumped you are. I love how you just man. I just you know what I'm going to be honest with you, Nadia. I just love your
Mm.
energy, and you've been making me laugh this entire interview. To be honest, and it's a rare thing that women make me laugh. So thank you for that. By the way, you've
Thank
been a highlight
you.
of my day.
Ah, thank you.
Tell me about NFZ Fitness. What was the motivation behind that?
You know what? I gotta say, I had to get out of my own way. That's what it
Okay,
was. That's what it
okay.
was. Fitness, I've had an on and off relationship with the whole duration of my career. In fact, if anything, I started in the gym when I was about 14 years old because my mom brought me there. She was like, "Hey, let's go lift some weights." So I remember that. I actually even remember the gym. I remember the way the door looked. I remember everything about that day that I went to the gym, okay, with my mom. But I did go with her when she was taking me to do aerobics when I was like 4 years old and stuff. Anyway, so fitness and wellness in general has always lived side by side with my dancing. However, you know, when you're younger, you have a little bit of like, you're a little bit cocky, you know, you're a
Yeah,
little bit like, you're a bit like, oh, look at me, I'm so fit from dancing. I don't need anything else. Like,
yeah.
and I did go through that time. I was very much like, I, how can I say, I latched onto this narrative of like, yeah, dance keeps you fit. And yeah, it does. It really does keep you fit. But then your body doesn't stay that way forever. You get older, you sustain injuries. Maybe you didn't realize that this whole time that you were dancing, the way your knee was moving wasn't really moving in the best way. So then now you develop bad habits, or you have developed bad habits, or you've developed certain things that now mechanically your body isn't working correctly, right? And so it
Mhm.
really does take experience and reflection to realize like there's a better way to do things.
Mm.
And so when I started to um, find my routine again in fitness, it was probably about, we're in November now, to going on 3 years. It was probably like 3 years ago that I was I started back at this gym called Fit Stop. And Fit Stop does, I don't know if you heard of Fit Stop?
Uh,
Do they I think they have them down in Melbourne as well. It's like a
it
chain.
sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. I probably would have gone past it, but the name sounds familiar. Yeah, but go on.
Okay. So I started off with that because it was group fitness where it was like, okay, you rock up at certain times or a certain day of the week, and
Hmm.
you're always going to be working with a bunch of other people. It's preset, 45 minutes, bang out the workout, bum, bang, done. Okay. And so that was the beginning for me to kind of like get into the routine of stuff. And then as I started getting into it, I was like really into it. And I wanted to kind of like push more, almost craved a little bit more tailored training. And then one day I was doing check-ins at the High Rocks
Hmm.
fitness race. And I was like, what the hell is High Rocks? And everyone that was in this scene was like, yeah, High Rocks. How do you not know what High Rocks is? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember my eyes was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, whoa, like it's like it's like my track and field days when I was in high school, but not. But now I'm like not in high school and now I'm an adult. let me let me like see what this is all about. So
Yeah.
I got super pumped by that, and I was like, this is probably going to be it. I think I'm going to get into fitness racing because I'm a competitive person. I like to work towards something. I like to have a result. Whether I win or not doesn't really matter. It's more about working towards something and seeing how far I can push myself and like what results I can get out of that, right?
Mm.
So the gym that I was going to, the founder of that particular gym, he founded a fitness race by the name of Paladin. Okay. Paladin is like High Rocks, but the difference is that it's more on focus on strength endurance, which is something that I'm really into more than I am in like general endurance. So it's less running. So High Rocks is 8Ks of running, Paladin is 4Ks of running. And then
Mhm.
in between each 800 meter of running, you have 4 zones. And in each zone, you have a different cardio machine, but you also have high repetitions of weightlifting of a certain exercise. So it
Mhm.
can be something like you need to lift something like a 20 kilo or 15 kilo dead ball for 100 repetitions, or you might need to be carrying two 12-kilo kettlebells in each hand for 100 meters or something like that in between, blah, blah, blah. So you've got 3 exercises per station. Anyway, the point of the matter is that then started to really inspire me even more around fitness and stuff like that. And last year, because I do events as well, I dabble in events, I dabble in talent management. I went for 2 jobs. I went for after I decided to go in a hiatus with my rhythm and roots movement. By the way, I'm gonna say for a moment, just just a moment for me to be proud for myself for my journey that I've made, because last year when I went on a hiatus, there was a lot of shame and grief around um Jesus is coming. Okay.
Yeah,
Whoever said that, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. What was I? Lost my train of thought because
That's
I
all
just
right.
called me on my back.
I will say though, it because we've been going on for a little bit over an hour, and Instagram does have a limit. So
Mm.
if it does cut out, we'll come back, and then I'll be able to edit it as well. All right?
Okay, no problem.
Okay. But yeah.
Where was I? Where was I? Um, oh, a
Yeah.
moment of saying like, yes, last year when I went on the hiatus with the rhythm and roots movement, there was a lot of like grief around that
Mhm.
because it meant grief and letting go of what was, and that was things like the full identity of being a dancer and what that meant for me, etc. I'd love to dive into that one day because I feel like it's something that a lot of artists, dancers, they go through these chapters in life, and sometimes they go through massive ones. Like I feel like that one that I went through was a massive one, and it's just not spoken about. And I think it's very healing for us to speak about it, and I really want to be able to speak about it. However, why I brought that back was just to say that if we had this talk maybe 6 months ago, or even before that, even maybe 8-10 months ago, I know that there would be a lot. I wouldn't have been able to so easily say, yeah, at that time I was going for these 2 different jobs that had nothing to do with dance. Like I would have felt so like, oh, okay, yeah, I was going for these. You know what I mean? I was a bit like that because I was so proud of like me being like this dancer and this identity that's carrying for so long and wearing for so long, you know. Anyway,
Mm.
saying all that, so I was going for this interview. One was to be an events producer for a dance, a really big local dance company, and then to also then work at basically the most prestigious fitness and health and wellness club in the Southern Hemisphere. Okay. And I had these two offers. One was offering not the best in terms of pay versus the events production one. But I went with the latter because I was just like, wait, something in me is telling me like I need to be in this space. And through being in this health and wellness space,
Mm.
it's opened up so many doors unexpectedly. I've met incredible people. I've been training with great trainers. And so it's been such an organic journey where like with dance, right? Like I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I know it felt right deep in my gut, deep in my soul. And every time I stepped into the space of me dancing and being present and connecting with the music and expressing, it was almost as if I was saying like, yes, universe, yes, I am here. I'm ready to receive. Give this to me. Like I was always saying that. I felt like it was almost like a dance of prayer. And it was always giving me like blessing me with something after I did that. So that's the same thing I feel like I've been experiencing within the fitness. Every time I said yes, every time I showed up, every repetition I did, every time I said no, and I said no to the no that said no in my brain, and still went to the gym, was every time I was building another step towards what now has been birthed as infused fitness or NFZ fitness. And as you can see, the way I'm talking about it, just as as excited as I am when I talk about dance and passion as I am, it's coming from the same place of like
Yeah.
fire, of like, whoa, like there is another you waiting on the other side of resistance training, of training that is designed and curated in such a way to support not only your dance performance, but also your overall mental and physical well-being. Like, yeah, like it's actually amazing how developing such a disciplined um relationship with the gym or with anything around fitness that is constantly reinforcing your love for yourself, your mental fortitude. Like it is beyond the aesthetics of it all. The aesthetics is extra. And yes, I also do have aesthetic goals. That's my own thing. But alongside that, it is really the challenge of every time there is a block, every time there is something that says no, am I able to challenge that? Am I able to get on top of my mind? Because if you can control your mind, you can control anything in your life, and your life is literally yours to make it what you want it to make it. So, yeah,
I
that's,
like it.
yeah,
I love it. And you what you were saying, it's I think it's also a different fire as well. Like as you were saying, it's such there's someone obviously it's like another you on the other side. That's a different flame altogether as well. So
yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
And
Oh
I think
man.
being able to like help, like, because okay, so like dance, right? Like
Hmm.
when I first started teaching dance hall, for example, the way it made me feel, like the way how I used to always feel back then, it's because that's why I'm speaking in the past, like, you know, back then I used to feel so liberated and so good dancing to this music and expressing in this way. I was like, well, why would I want to keep this for myself? Like, I want other people to feel this way. And that's how I feel around fitness. It's like, that's why I talk about it. That's why I share it as well. And that's why infused fitness exists, because I'm just like, no, but I want other people to feel so empowered and elevated and good in their minds and in their bodies. Because the more people that are feeling that way, the more of that good energy exists in our universe,
Mm.
and the more that we get to absorb that goodness, and the just it's just like this domino effect of freaking good shit.
Which also does raise the question, though, when it comes to you teaching people how to dance and really, people they also come up to you saying, "Oh, thank you so much, Nadia. Thank you for you existing," and these types of things. How does that make you feel, knowing that you are motivating people, lifting their spirits up through dance because of you?
Okay, surface level, because we all have a certain level of ego that needs to be put into place, is that there definitely is a certain level of validation. Let's not pretend, let's not lie, right? There's definitely going to be like a moment of like, oh yeah. But then when I really sit with that, I go, hold on though, like I really deeply feel like there is a purpose that is bigger than me, bigger than this vessel. Like I basically am just the vessel that is transferring and bringing the message forward. So it's two things that are happening at once. So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for them for feeling there's many things happening. So I feel like I want to tell them, which I have, and sometimes I don't get the chance to because people probably don't have the moment to actually express that. But the people that do come forward and express it, I say to them, first of all, thank yourself for being open to receiving the message. Secondly, thank you for being brave enough to actually come forward to even express that that's what's been going on for you, even if it was a messy way. Like the amount of times that people have, and so have I, that people have actually cried in workshops where they let themselves come out that way, and the world is still shaming us, for crying and for expressing emotion, and like, so we automatically feel like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like I remember how I made the joke in the DMs and I said like, oh, we might be crying and you're on your live, like, but yeah, like, we almost feel like when we start crying, like, oh, sorry, gotta wipe the tears away.
Mm.
I'm crying right now. And it's just like, no, don't be sorry. Like, actually thank yourself for allowing yourself to feel that way and letting it come out that way, Um, and then I'm grateful. So I'm grateful for them for being that way. And I'm asking them to thank themselves for that. But then I'm also grateful for the fact that they were able to also share that with me. Because then it is a reinforcement to say like, and it's not that I need that reinforcement or validation, but it is still a reminder to be like, hey, it's what you're doing is healing and it's
Mm.
needed, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah. So
I love that.
that's how I feel that. I think that, for example, that's from like, of course, from an emotional, mental, I guess, spiritual perspective. And then I would say from like keeping cultural knowledge and information alive, is that's where that's super important, you
Hmm.
know, is that knowing that I'm doing my absolute best to be able to preserve the the stories of those who came before me, um, as correctly as possible. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. There probably has been mistakes that I've made along the way, in the information that I've shared, but the intention is to make sure to share it as best as possible, and encourage those who are exposed to these cultural dances to go to the source, because I'm just a messenger. I'm just helping opening up a door, helping to encourage and inspire more questions to dig deeper. I mean, that's what happened for me, right? I had a teacher that at the time introduced to me, now I would describe as kind of like a commercial style of like feminine movement that also incorporated some dancehall vocabulary, right? It wasn't straight dancehall, but she used dancehall music. That was
Mm.
way back in 2008. And I was like, oh my God, what is this music? And oh my God, what's this movement that you're doing, And through being with her, even though she didn't give me all the tools, she gave me enough, because my desire to want to dig deeper was stronger. It came from within. It wasn't that I came to her. Wait, are we here? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I came to her. I came to her class And it was me that felt that drive, that felt that desire. So then I said, I'm grateful for her for that. And I go, all right, cool. Now it's my responsibility to continue digging, find the right people that I want to learn from, that is going to take me to where I want to go, you know? So, yeah.
Wow. No, I love that. I think that's it from me, to be honest. Was there anything else you wanted to add as well
Uh,
before we wrap it up? Instagram has been behaving itself, so we're good.
hey, say that again.
Instagram has been behaving itself, so it's good.
Yes, actually, surprisingly, hey, because like usually you did say it was like an hour. I'm putting the other headphones in.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is I feel it's so funny. I always say to myself, like, yeah, you know, these chats were always going to end up like an hour. An hour is the is
That's
how
a
it goes
minimum.
over.
That's a minimum.
Yeah, but I really have enjoyed chatting with you, sharing with you on your platform. Thank you for the great questions. I know that there's more that I'd like to share, to be honest, but I feel like I think that yeah, the fact that like we've shared this much, we might have a chapter two at another stage.
Well, and if
Or
you're in
maybe,
Melbourne, if you're in Melbourne
yeah.
next time, we could do it in the studio this time.
Oh, okay. I'd like that too.
Yeah.
Unless you want to hand it over to the four people that have their eyes on us. But if no one, because I feel like there's some people that I can't see who's here. Um,
Oh no, but there's been people like jumping in, and going, coming and going. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
Cool, coolies.
but Nadia, before we wrap it up, there's this thing that I do where I let people know how successful they are, and my definition of success of a successful person is they're doing what they love doing, they're pursuing at it, they're working hard at it, and they're getting results, whether it's minor or major, and they've refused to give up. And to me, that's a successful person. So you are a successful woman, Nadia. All right.
Thank you.
All right. And I want to say thank you so much for the people that have joined in. This is going on YouTube and Spotify as well. So in case of people have missed it, you can join it on there. Nadia, it has been a pleasure. We'll definitely speak soon. Love your energy. Again, you've made me laugh the entire interview. And next time you're in Melbourne, hit me up. We'll link up.
I look forward to it. In fact, actually, I will be down first weekend of December.
Okay.
Yes, for the Jamaican Music Food Festival.
Yeah. Definitely going to be
Yeah,
there because
so
I definitely want to try Jamaican food, to be honest.
hey, woo! I think Bossman Foods is gonna be there, so you can't miss out. It's gonna be good.
Okay, okay, okay.
I look forward to meeting you. Thank you
Of
so much.
course.
You got me a little bit emotional at the end there, and I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. I
Uh,
resonated with that statement around the definition of success. So thank you.
no worries. And you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll definitely keep in touch. All right.
Thank you. Stay
All right.
blessed.
Stay
Peace.
blessed. See you guys.